The walls continue to close in on Notre Dame's ability to keep football independent status. And the cold November rain, Pac-12's cold November rain, keeps raining down on them. When I look into your eyes, I can see a love restrained. But darling, when I hold you, don't you know I feel the same? Nothing lasts forever, and we both know hearts can change, and it's hard to hold a candle in the cold November rain. Guns N' Roses, the lyrics to November Rain. Okay, so it's not quite an apples to apples comparison of what's been going on, but I love that song so much I had to throw it into the episode. Episode 90 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We've got two huge stories. Pac-12's visibility, exposure issues going into the media deal. The media deal that they're going to strike at some point, sometime. Who knows when? And the walls continue to close in on Notre Dame. We're going to get to that here in a second. But please, if you like our content, please smash that like button. Subscribe to our ever-growing channel and share this video with your family and friends. Let's not waste any more time. Let's first get to the story of the Pac-12. Reported yesterday from Dennis Dodd. And if you've been following us here at Peek Around the Corner for the last couple months, since the birth of this channel, we've been talking about how, especially in the last week, since the Big 12 signed a new media deal, how the Pac-12, even if they match the conference revenue, the conference payout per school revenue that the Big 12 just struck a deal with Fox and ESPN, that the Big 12 is going to lag behind the Pac-12 is going to lag behind the Big 12 in exposure, regardless of what deal the Pac-12 strikes. Even if they strike a deal with ESPN and Amazon, the exposure part of the deal is going to lag far behind the Big 12 because Brett Yormark was able to move up his negotiations. I was supposed to start 16, 18 months from now, move it all the way up, cut in front of the line of the Pac-12 and get a deal done. That's going to average $31.6 million a year per Big 12 school. Can the Pac-12 match that? Probably, but they can't match the exposure. Let's get to the article real quick. Dennis Dodd. Pac-12 should be concerned about visibility, not valued compared to the Big 12 as new media rights deal nears. Plus a look at whether further expansion is coming to the Big 10, Big 12, or Pac-12. We're just going to concentrate on the visibility issue of the Pac-12. Back to the article. Those hung up on the value of the media rights deals at this point aren't asking the right questions. Whether the Pac-12 makes more than the Big 12 isn't the issue. It has become less about money and more about visibility. This is exactly what we've been saying here at Peek Around the Corner daily for the last 2 weeks. Back to the article. The advantage of the Big 12 jumping in line to sign a new media rights deal. It's almost like I wrote this article. No, I am not Dennis Dodd and he is not me. But I absolutely agree with everything Dennis Dodd says here. Back to the article. The advantage of the Big 12 jumping in line to sign a media rights deal with ESPN and Fox last month at least secures the conference future. It will continue to be shown on linear television. The money is the money. An average of $31.66 million per school beginning 2025, with an all-in figure of about $50 million per school annually when the college football playoff expands. The Pac-12 is expected to finalize a deal in principle by the beginning of 2023, two industry sources told CBS Sports. One source said the league has sent out a robust proposal to ESPN and Amazon. And here's the big part of the article. If a deal with ESPN and a streaming giant like Amazon is reached, the Pac-12 would likely be able to command a sum approximate to the Big 12's base figure. Okay, maybe a couple million less, maybe a couple million more than the Big 12 received. Again, that's not the issue. By cutting in line, the Big 12 gets access to broadcast windows already choked with premium Big 10 and SEC content. Those two giants already will be dominating the day with Big Noon on Fox, the valuable 3:30 window SEC, and the Big 10 Saturday night NBC. USC, UCLA will also be playing Big 10 games in the late night fourth window. Rather, the big questions of the big Pac-12 remains. Who will see its games? For the first time, a Power 5 conference will be showing significant content on a standalone streaming service without a TV affiliation. It's possible that caused strong pushback from inside this conference when the Big 12 Commissioner Kevin Warren kept advocating for adding California, Oregon, Stanford, Washington in further Big Ten expansion. We're going to skip a paragraph. For the moment, Amazon has let it be known it is only doing business with must-see premium live sports television properties, named the NFL. Amazon has no interest in bad games, one industry source said. Another industry source suggested if Amazon wants to go all in on premium live sports, it might take a big bid for the part of the expanded college football playoff and pass on the Pac-12 altogether. So here we got George Kliavkoff, Pac-12, negotiating with Amazon, ESPN, and put out a robust offer to both of those media companies. And a couple of industry sources told Dennis Dodd at CBS that Amazon might just walk away anyways. They might walk away from the table from the Pac-12. But regardless, best case scenario for the Pac-12 is to get a deal with ESPN and Amazon, but still lag way behind in the exposure race. Because up until now, Amazon is not going to be able to give the exposure to the Pac-12 like Fox and ESPN does for the Big 12. Just isn't going to happen. Not for years to come. Someday, maybe, yes. This is why the Big Ten did not do a deal with Amazon. Even though Amazon was offering more to the Big Ten than CBS and NBC for the 3:30 slot and the primetime slot, Big Ten, Kevin Warren went the other way. They choose exposure over more money. Pac-12, choosers can't be beggars. Beggars can't be choosers, I should say. Irregardless, Pac-12 is going to start lagging behind the Big 12 in exposure, regardless of what deal they sign. Put your comments down in the comment section below the video. Let me know your thoughts on this. And again, this article wasn't written by me, but it could have very well been written by me. I agree with every word that was said. We've been talking about this. You all have been talking about this on this channel, on our live shows. The Pac-12 has lost the exposure race. We're going to see how they do in the money race in the next media deal. Now for a huge story that I think is going to slide under people's radar for today, Wednesday, November 9th. I think this story is going to slide into people's radar, but here at Peek Around the Corner, we're going to talk about it. The walls continue to close in on Notre Dame's ability to keep football independence. You might say, Greg, there's no big story breaking out there. Well, let's take a look at this. The Athletic. Now, I put a tweet out here. I'm not going to go into the Athletic article. I do pay for it. I read the articles, but it's behind the paywall, so I don't showcase the whole article. But this was tweeted out. This part of the Athletic article was tweeted out by Nicole Auerbach and others. So I tweeted it out, and we're going to just talk about this tweet and maybe a couple other items that were in the article. Here it says, The Athletic. If you have the first round and quarterfinal games on the campuses of the higher seed, it would create incredible drama. Oklahoma Athletic Director Joe Castellanos told The Athletic, I just think it would be epic. And I tweeted out, make it so. If you read that article, and I would advise you to read that article, The Athletic, it talks about how there's a growing, like an inertia here, momentum, having not just the first round games of the new college football expanded playoffs be on campuses, but the quarterfinal games, the second round games. Okay? It talks about in the article how the bowl games are becoming less and less more powerful. And of course, here at Peek Around the Corner, we've been talking about how the super conferences are becoming more and more powerful. Now, currently, as it's stated in the college football expanded playoffs, Notre Dame being an independent, never a conference champion, would never get a first round bye in the playoffs. They would never be seeded 1 through 4. Even if they were 12-0, even if they were ranked the number 1 team in the college football selection committee rankings in the new college football expanded playoffs, they would never get a first round bye, and the best they would do is get seeded number 5. So they won't get a first round bye, but they would get a home game in the first round. But look at this. Again, read this tweet. If you have the first round and quarterfinal games on the campuses of the higher seed, it would create incredible drama. So if the quarterfinal games are at home as well and on campus of the higher seed team, that means the second-rated team in the Notre Dame or the first top-rated team in the country, Notre Dame, would have to go on the road and play at another home campus stadium in the quarterfinals if they get to the first round. So they wouldn't get a first round bye, and they would have to go the road to play on another team's campus stadium in the second round because they're holding on to this independent football status. Again, just another example of the walls closing in on Notre Dame's ability to keep their independent football status. Do you really think that Notre Dame, if this happens, and again, please read the article, it talks about the economic impact of these schools having a home game on campus, and the higher impact. It talks about Penn State. It gives out a number of how much money they make in their community when they have a home game, and that's correct all throughout the country. And can you imagine the economic impact of having a home game in that quarterfinal game in that campus? And Notre Dame's going to shut themselves out being able to do so. Having to a 12-0 Notre Dame, undefeated, top team in the country. Let's say in 2027, independent Notre Dame, 12-0, blowing everybody out, is seeded number 5 and has to go on the road against 11-2 USC, number 4 seed, because they remain independent. Yeah, I'm not buying it. I don't think Notre Dame will stand up for that. But they don't. They're losing power. The only people that are gaining power in the new world of college sports, college football, are these bigger and bigger super conferences. The bowl games are losing power. Independent status is losing power. Even these other independent schools are trying to jump into these conferences. We saw Liberty was able to get into a conference. Some of these FCS teams trying to get into FBS conferences because the expanded football playoffs, the increased huge amount of revenue. And this particular tweet right here, if you have the first round and quarterfinal games on the campuses of the higher seed, it would create incredible drama, the Oklahoma athletic director told The Athletic. I just think it would be epic. Make it so. Make it so. Give me your thoughts on the comment section below the video. I read all the comments. But I think this is just another log on the fire that the walls are closing in on Notre Dame's. Notre Dame's ability to keep football independent. To now, if this comes true, and boy, it sounds like there's a lot of momentum to have that quarterfinal games also on home campuses. If this comes true, that means Notre Dame gives up the ability to have a first round bye, gives up the ability to have a home game in the quarterfinals, and they would have to go to somewhere else, even if they were the number 1 ranked team in the country. That's not worth it. That's not worth it. Again, give me your comments down below. Until next time, from all of us at Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please, you all take care of each other. Thank you so very much.